Hi everyone, I'm Teresa the teacher. I am at Scarborough Castle and this is the castle. You can see a tower, it's just a ruin now, and you can see the castle wall here. I am in a town called Scarborough in Yorkshire, so it's the north of England, and here you can see a place where Roman soldiers built a sort of signaling system, a tower with a fire on top. When there was an attack, they lit a fire and everybody saw a fire and they thought, aha, there must be a problem. And later there was a church built on the same spot, in the same place. And all the other people here are other tourists who are also studying English here at a school called Anglo-Lang. It's a very good school. And our guide is English and he's really good. He tells us a lot of information about the Romans, about the castle.
You can see Holbeck Hall up there where you've already found out about, up there. And one of my ex-girlfriends had her wedding reception booked there. And when I got in touch with her 20, 30 years, are you married? Yes, I am, but we had to cancel our wedding reception because it was in the Holbeck Hall Hotel. We had to find somewhere else very quick. But she ended up marrying a vet, so she did better than me alone in a bit more. Right,
so that's our guide speaking.
Right, can you listen, please? Okay, so we're on the edge of the Roman signal station. Also, this site has been used for the military. Both the Navy in World War I, the British Navy, had people listening out for the German ships and listening for communications. And there's also a large building in Scarborough, which used to be the site. And then they've got an even bigger one now, it's called GCHQ. And that has played an important part in gathering information. You may have heard of something called the Cuban Missile Crisis, where the places the Americans and the Russians came. Well, Scarborough's listening station, which is based upon the road called Urton Moor, played a part in collecting the information. But originally they had people down here listening for the coast because it's so stuck out into the North Sea, it's such a vital place. And also in the Second World War, when the the British planes were coming over back from Europe, they had a radar beacon up here that the planes could fix on, so they knew they were near Scarborough, and then they could fix their geography because this headland is so far jutting out and it is so well defended, and you've got lots of buildings up here. So I mentioned that it was a church. So after the Anglo-Saxons, who invaded in about AD 1000 around this area, they built a church, and then when the Normans, the French, came, they extended it. And we are standing near a graveyard which had 400 burials, and they were all had to be moved during the archaeology. So I'll show you the stone which replaced them, and then we'll head up back to the castle, and I will show you the main part of the castle, and then we'll see the best view in Scarborough from that view. Can you see to where that flag is up there? That is literally the best view in Scarborough. If not Yorkshire, if not England. I won't claim the world. Right. Fall down.
Be careful when you run down.
Yeah. Especially if you're my age.
So as you can hear, the guide is English and he speaks with a northern accent. A northern accent is different from a southern accent. What we usually learn as British English in a school is from the south of England, but here people speak differently, the pronunciation is a bit different, and I understand them very well usually, but for learners who are not used to the accent, it might be a bit complicated, you know. So maybe listen to it again, make it go more slowly, and you can tell me in the comments if you understood him or not, because he's speaking a bit slowly sometimes. He knows we are students, so he thinks some of us can't speak good English, but tell me in the comments if you understood a lot, okay?
He spends a lot of time doing your hair. Can you show me how to do those? Yeah? Well, do I have enough?
You can try.
I've got to get it longer. Yeah? Yeah. I'd go a bit longer. I could do the sides, if not the top, anyway. Anybody want to have a go at reading? Come on, nobody want to have a go?
Here lie the remains of many... What?
Yeah, go on.
Should I? Of many Christian people interred during the, what is this? The Middle Ages in the graveyard of the Chapel of Our Lady, which occupied the site of the Roman signal station. Their remains were removed to this spot during the excavations of 1921 to 5 at the request of their successors in the common faith in Jesus Christ as Saviour and Lord. This memorial was erected by the Corporation of Scarborough.
Beautifully read.
Thank you.
I think you could be an English teacher.
I am one. I'm an English teacher. Sorry.
That was actually beautifully read. So there was 400 skeletons that they had to move. Mainly young people, maybe similar ages to some of you guys from the Bronze Age. There was no Romans, so there's no Italian ancestors, I'm sorry, that are maybe pleased. And there were medieval period from 1100 to about 1300. There was one who was buried with a chalice, which is a cup that's used in ceremonies in a Catholic church, and the cup was buried next to a skeleton, and the skeleton had very, very bad knees, very, very worn knees, and they weren't able to work out a lot because they didn't have DNA, they didn't have the the techniques that they have nowadays, but they worked out he was a priest because he spends a lot of time praying and kneeling, and they moved them to this site because they didn't want them disturbed again. Should the time come where we might have got the money or the resources to do more excavations, because you've got to remember, we've had the Bronze Age people from 600 years before the birth of Christ, we've got the Middle Ages, we've got perhaps some Romans, we've got a lot more to discover. So we're going to make our way up to the top. So I'm wearing a hat which has got the Vikings on. Have you heard of the Vikings?
Yes.
Yeah, the Vikings. This is the name of a Yorkshire cricket team called the Yorkshire Vikings. So the Vikings sort of rampaged and pillaged round the north, and they came to Scarborough and possibly gave Scarborough its name. Have you covered this with Skardyberg? So a chap called Thorskill Skardi is said in the Icelandic sagas to have spent a winter here. He had what's called a cleft palate, which is like he was born with a gap in his lip, and Skardi was his nickname, almost like Scarface almost, but in the sagas it's mentioned called Skardi. And then he spent time, and it's written here that he spent time wintering in the sheltered bay where you'll have come up from, where all the amusements are. Obviously wasn't there then. And so people have said it was Scarborough was named after Skardi, Skardisberg or Skardi's town. And only a month ago, just going back to sport, because I love my sport, Scarborough's got a football team, I don't know if you know, called Scarborough Athletic, and they've got a new mascot, which is it's a sea pup. It's basically a man and looks like he's dressed in a dog. You know, looks like a dog. And they wanted a name for him, so they had a list of names, and one of them was Skardi. They had like a short list you could choose from: Skardi, Salty, Sandy. Can't remember the other ones, but it just shows you this name of the Viking is still in the hearts of people from Scarborough. That people put that forward as the name for the new mascot. He didn't get chosen. They went for Sandy, the sea pup, which is a bit rubbish, but never mind. But we also have written down another Viking who you might have heard of, called Harald Hardrada. And he, in 1066, where if you're an English student, it's the only year that you ever remember, particularly if you're taught by me at history. You remember 1066, because that's where we had a big invasion, 2 invasions. One from the Vikings, from Norway, and one from France, William the Conqueror, or William Duke of Normandy. He had another rude name as well, because his parents weren't married at the time when he was born, so he had another rude name, but I won't use an English swear word in front of you. Too many. I won't do that. Well, oh, you did use that yesterday? Okay, yes, William the Bastard. So he invaded, and then the Normans were going to invade from the south, the Vikings were going to invade, well, that way. So that way, there's Norway over there. And he said in the Icelandic sagas that Harald Hardrada came to the headland and sent burning brushwood down into the settlement and destroyed what was Skardisberg. What was there, we don't know what exactly was there, but there certainly wasn't anything left whence he burnt it all. And as they weren't Christians, they were pagans, they worshipped different types of gods, we think they may have ransacked the chapel as well. So we don't have a lot of evidence for the Vikings, but what we do know is when the Normans came, the French, and they conquered England, they started to build lots of castles. So I'm going to get my breath back and we're going to walk up to the top of that hill. Are we ready? Okay. Yeah? Come on, let's go.
So I think that's been long enough. Thank you and see you soon.